Right, this is a 1987 Camaro Iroc Z28. It has a custom red paint job, full through, with the headlights blacked out and a fiberglass SS style hood from the 4th gen Camaros. These are factory rims that were polished to look really shiny like chrome, you know. Car is also lowered. I believe it was about 1.5 inches in the front. It's about 2 inches total lowering, I believe. It's been a long time. In the back here, we got 5% limo tint on the back window. And down low, we have the exhaust tips from a 95 Camaro. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. Nice low profile rectangle tips. And I'll just get a shot of the other end of the car here. And we'll go all the way up to the front again, so you can get your little virtual tour of the car here. The only damage on this vehicle is the windshield. It is cracked right from the driver's corner. It will need to be replaced. We got inside the vehicle, it's all original interior, original bucket seats, original carpet, original headliner. There's a captain's console in here as well. Manual dials, you know, from the 80s. Little map light, pocket for whatever you want to put in there. There's even a handy little flashlight that says Camaro on it. And then down here we got the designation, says Z28 Iroc Z. And we got a custom stereo. We'll start with the Kenwood mask system. This face piece actually flips around when you turn it on. And just below we have an equalizer from PPI. It's a great equalizer. In the fronts we have a 4-inch mid with a 1-inch tweet in the kick panels and a 6-inch sub in the door. Same thing on the driver's side, of course. And in the back seat we have a 6-inch mid with a 1-inch tweet as well. And we'll take a walk over to the driver's side so you can see the rest of the gauges. Actually, I should show you the trunk for the rest of the stereo. It does have a power trunk, but I'll just use the key to show you that it still works. You fold down the license plate holder and pops the lid. And then I got fresh shocks on there, so the back hatch lifts up nice. And we got two 10-inch W3 JL audio subs in a custom-made box with a 1 farad capacitor to help give those subs the punch it needs. We have this MTX 275 powering the front mids only, and they go through these crossovers that are at the back here, these big ones. Those are for the front. The rears are powered right off the deck, and they go through these crossovers in the back here. And that monster amp there is an 800 watt amp peak. It's 400 RMS. Those power these JL audio subs here. And each amp is fused individually there. And it's also got a main fuse up by the battery and a nice distribution block here for the ground. It's all grounded properly. It's a beautiful system. There's 12 JL audio speakers in here in total. Does have the original spare tire and jack in there as well. It's I believe it's in this side here. Over here is like a little toolbox. It's pretty useless actually. So we'll show you the pull down hatch working. So you just kind of let it clip and pulls it down nice and tight. Now we'll go over to the driver's side here. The fun seat. This vehicle does have power locks and power windows. So all original instrument cluster. Got an aftermarket steering wheel. This car was automatic and I made it into a standard. And those are just the pedals and covers. The transmission is actually from a 1995 Camaro LT1. Thus why it's a 6-speed. I have a Hurst shifter in there with a short throw stick, so the gears itself are actually really tight. Like it's, you'll see it when we go for a test drive. Anyways, we have, I believe that's a 6-inch tachometer with a shift light, and we have oil pressure gauge. And over here on the A-pillar we have an air fuel gauge. Tells you if the car is running rich or lean or just perfect. And up here we have a fuel pressure gauge so that we can make sure the engine's getting the gas it actually needs. You know, you don't want to starve these things out, being a 6.3 liter. What else can I show you? It's got a Clifford G4 alarm. You can roll down the windows with this alarm. It also has a proximity sensor, so if anyone does come close to the vehicle, it will chirp, and if they stick their hand through the window, the alarm will go off. It's a pretty cool feature, and it impresses quite a bit of people in shows. Alright, let's pop the hood, and we'll take a look at this engine. So I left the bottom side, actually this fiberglass hood came all clear, gel coated gray. So I got the bottom side painted black. I was going to get the engine bay painted black, but the price was quite expensive. My next step for modifying this vehicle was to make some fiberglass covers over the fender wells here to clean up the engine bay. But I think the black looks pretty good for now. Brand new battery, got K&N air filters in here. And we've gutted it out and put some dryer ducting between there and just down here behind the fog lamp, so it's initially a ram air induction. It's about as ram air as you can get with these cars. I was going to try and figure something out to make this hood scoop work actually. But anyways, cooling this engine, we have a custom radiator, dual core. It keeps the car actually really nice and cool considering the size of this engine and the heat of the summer. It does a great job. It's got dual fans, but I believe the programming in the chip, it runs them both whenever I need them, instead of one for one set of temperatures and the other one. So that's another good factor for how it keeps it so cool. This is a Bosch high output alternator to feed that stereo we got pumping in the back there. That is an Edelbrock high output water pump, and can't remember the brand, but that's a harmonic balancer in the bottom there. That's custom for this engine. You can see I've deleted the air conditioning out of here, but I've also put in the proper air box so it doesn't look like you deleted air conditioning. I do have the original air conditioning stuff, so if you are wanting to make it air conditioned again, it's absolutely possible. Alright, so engine, let's start from the air. We got the air intake there, mass airflow. That is an Edelbrock 58 mil throttle body. This here is a throttle body coolant bypass. They used to run coolant through the throttle body for the winter so that the blades wouldn't get stuck. But this being the car that it is, it doesn't get driven in the winter. So it didn't need it, so I took it out. Over here, this is called a Mini Ram 2 intake. It's supposed to be a 3rd generation replacement for the LT1 intake. It's actually got a taller runner in here. That's what that length here is from the plenum to the head. It's called a runner. That's a 4-inch, or I think it's about 5 or 6 inches actually, whereas the LT1 is 3 inches. So that means you get a little more torque over an LT1 intake. And if this doesn't have enough torque in it, you can put the original intake in, and that's got a 16 or 18 inch runner, I believe. These are 30 pound per hour Excel fuel injectors, and it feeds the motor just fine. We have a complete MSD ignition. There's the box, that distributor, cap, coil, everything there is MSD. The ignition wires are actually tailor-made. It comes in a kit with a whole length, and then you can make your custom lengths. And these are heat boots because they run so close to the headers. You want to protect those wires from shorting and melting, so that's what that's for. We have Edelbrock Elite, I believe is what these are called, the valve covers. And underneath that we have Comp Cam's 1.6 roller rockers. with Comp Cam's chromoly lifters and chromoly roller, or sorry, push rods and chromoly. Let's try that again. Chromoly push rods and Comp Cam's roller lifters. The cam shaft itself is a custom grind cam. It's actually a big block cam profile on a small block cam, of course, because this is a 350 block board and stroked out to 383. So that cam gives it a nice docile idle, but lots of power. These are hooker headers. They're shorties. Got a custom Y pipe built from there. And that's of course taking the exhaust out of these heads, which are AFR 190s. They are pretty much original heads. I had the valve seals replaced on them because they were leaking. Down to the engine block. That's a 350 engine block. I believe it's from a 98 pickup truck or something like that. Anyways, the bottom half of the block is cemented to give the piston some extra strength at the bottom end. Which is where a lot of these things fail, apparently. And the crankshaft has actually got splayed caps, so instead of the original 2 bolts holding each cam or each crank cap on, it's got 4, and the outer ones are put in at a 45 to give it added strength. Upwards from there we got a Eagle forged 4340 crank, and then we go up to the rods, which are Eagle H-beam H-beam forged 4340 rods, and topped off with some JE flat top pistons built for nitrous. 11:1 compression with these heads, but I think it's actually sitting a little bit lower than that, maybe around 10.8 or so. But in any case, the machinist that built my bottom end said that this motor could handle an 800 shot of nitrous, but I wouldn't recommend it. I built it with a 200 shot in mind. So with the 500 engine on the engine, it's about 420-ish on the tires. You'd be looking at about 600 horse to the tires with the nitrous. What else have we got here? The charcoal canister is still intact. There's the alarm siren there, and we got custom length steel braided fuel lines feeding that sucker. K&N valve cover breather, and I think that covers the engine. We're not running any coolant in this thing. It's actually called a water wetter. It's got all the lubricating and cooling properties of coolant, but without the environmental hazards. If you ever do any NHRA racing, they require many vehicles to not have coolant. I think there's a year where they made sealed coolant systems, and if your vehicle is older than that, you're required to run just water, or water wetter with water is acceptable, because it doesn't leave the track slick if you get a coolant leak. So that's another added bonus there. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I'll close this up and we'll go for a test drive. I'll give you the old low profile shot here. It's a beautiful car. It's my baby. I hate to sell it, but I gotta get rid of it. So to the lucky owner, next owner.